A man who's sitting pretty at the very top of the Premier League. Eamonn Donnelly's from the Dublin Arsenal Supporters Club. He's on the way.
The Kickoff
with CATHAL Minougge and Sky Sports.
Since it's another international break and this is the third one this season actually, we thought it's a good time to talk to a fan who's sitting fairly pretty at the top of the league. It's about time we got an Arsenal fan on the show. 4 points clear at the top of the league. 26 points, 11 games played. Eamonn Donnelly, he's from the Dublin Arsenal Supporters Club, and he's one of the many voices that you will regularly hear on the Dublin Arsenal podcast. How are you doing, Eamonn?
All doing well, Col. We're a bit easier to find Arsenal fans these days than we used to be.
yeah, you're loud and proud, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I've been an Arsenal fan for 54 years now, you know.
This is a pretty good time, right? Were you expecting to be talking here in November and looking pretty healthy at the top of the league? Hard to score against you, playing some great football. Although a lot of people might say it's not the most exciting football to watch. I will say last weekend against Sunderland was pretty exciting to watch. Maybe not so much for yourself, but it's a good time. You're looking fairly solid.
Yeah, I think we learned a lesson last season, Cathal, when we thought adding Mikel Merino to the squad was the missing piece, because we'd run Man City to a point the season before, and then we got a plethora of injuries which exposed actually the squad depth wasn't what it needed to be, and we addressed that this summer. But when the fixtures came out for the first 6 games of the season, you were looking at those fixtures kind of going, oh, we're going to have a bit of ground to make up. And if we were sitting in going into the November international break within 2 to 3 points of the lead, we'd be in a good spot. So it's a bit of a bonus territory to actually have a lead, given the fixtures that we've had. And also, I know we're not really in a position to complain about injuries given the depth of the squad we have, but it's amazing that we got a cluster of injuries right across the forward line, with Havertz, Jesus, Gyökeres and so on, Madueke. But I think given what the circumstances, I think we're in a really healthy spot. Just on the football we're playing, I've heard people say it mightn't be the most exciting, but I'd say more than any other team, Cathal, we face 11 men behind the ball in what they now call a low block more than any other team. Teams play against us in their own ground, and they set up that way. So it's inevitable that's going to be hard to break down. And statistically, it's inevitable that if that's the way the game is going to pan out, you're going to get more set pieces. So if you get more set pieces, you might as well try and be good at them, you know. And I think we've managed to do that.
Yeah, you are very, very good at set pieces, and you are defending incredibly well. I mean, before the game against Sunderland, you were looking to keep a club record 9th clean sheet in a row, which is absolutely incredible. Do you even care how you play as long as you win? I mean, sometimes, you know, fans could want the best of everything, but at the end of the day, it's a 22-year title drought is what you have in the league, you know. So does it really matter what way you play and what people think about the style of play?
Well, go back to 2008 when a very young Arsene Wenger team, the second Arsene Wenger team, if you like, should have won the league. And Eduardo broke his leg that season. Rosicky got crocked. We were a bit shy in squad, but we played beautiful football that season, right? And then if you look at the late Wenger years after that, there were times when we played absolutely beautiful football, but the atmosphere in the ground was toxic, because the team didn't seem to have any direction. It was nestling in. We were achieving top 4 all the time. People's expectations were a bit higher. So I think the answer to your question is there's a hunger for us to win the title. And to be honest with you, I think fans want to see us win. But I do put I don't accept the fact that we don't play good football. I think that if teams came out and played us, we play a lot better football. But teams are smart enough and savvy enough to know that if you try that with the Arsenal, that we'll play through you. And like, in fairness to the Arteta and the coaching staff, they've had to do a lot of work to try and work on opening up channels to get through teams in that low block. But I mean, that kind of game, the game is changing as well, Cathal. I mean, there's a lot more reliance on long ball, long throw, set pieces than there had been in recent seasons, you know.
And how do you feel now when we're at this international break? I mean, there's a long way to go yet. Do you feel confident sometimes you wonder, would you rather be chasing than being chased? How do you feel at this stage of the season?
Well, the way I always look at that, by the way, I think the age profile of the squad and the squad depth is sufficient enough not to worry about whether you're out there and you're going to blow a lead. You know?
Okay, yeah,
I mean, at
yeah.
the end of the day, the way I see it is, it's a bit like a darts player hitting a treble 20. If you keep hitting treble 20s or you keep getting your 3 points every week, does it really matter whether you're chasing or whether you're ahead? At the end of the day, they tot up the points. I always say on the podcast, you know, it was very important that we won when Man City dropped points. I don't buy into that. I think you've got to concentrate on getting your own 3 points. And what I will say is, sometimes the reaction to dropping a couple of points is we're either the best in the world or the worst in the world. But we went into the last international break a point ahead of Liverpool and 3 ahead of City, and now we're 4 ahead of City and 8 ahead of Liverpool. So that can't be bad. No. So yeah, but there's a long way to go, and you know, there's 90 odd points to play for. So you wouldn't be. You wouldn't be singing opera about it at the moment, but we're in a good place, you know.
Yeah, totally. You mentioned the podcast there, so you're part of the Dublin Arsenal Supporters Club. You have your own podcast, the Dublin Arsenal Podcast, but also one of your roles in the Supporters Club is Ticket Liaison Officer. Now, I'm not a part of any supporters club, Eamonn, but something tells me that's one of the hardest jobs to have.
It is, and I'll tell you what I noticed, Carl. I noticed after COVID, when I went back, I go to every home game, right? But I noticed after COVID, when I went back to going to football, that people had missed it, and that, as much as anything, put an increased demand on tickets. Not just because you're top of the league or you're competing for the league. There's a demand to attend games now because people saw what it was like when we were watching football on with no crowds. So that kind of put a big demand, and a lot of people are joining the supporters club. We've about 400 members here in Dublin, and we get about 20 tickets for every game, you know, and that brings its own problem. But you try and be fair with people. You try and see that everybody can get to go at least once or twice in a season, and we try and make sure that we accommodate people. But it is a tough job. But as I said, we get about 20 tickets. We actually get more tickets, I think, than proportionally other supporters club get. But that's because Dublin has always sent over a large travelling contingent.
Would you all travel over together then? Would that be the way it would work?
I don't know. People make their own arrangements. We organise tickets, and people make their own arrangements. But it you know, you'd nearly know. There's a few of us now who nearly know each other's movements without even asking. You know, so we tend to have a few hostelries where we'd kind of congregate, and we'd be familiar with the area. And you know, some people go over and back in the day. Sometimes if it's a later kick-off, you stay overnight. So we're a fairly collegiate bunch, and we kind of know what each other's doing. You know.
Did you say you go over to every home game? Do you literally mean every home game?
Well, it'd be, yeah. Well, I was at, I think it was at 20 games last year. That includes a couple of Champions League games. I'd miss an occasional one.
Yeah.
You know, if work demanded my working on a Saturday or something like that. But by and large, I plot my games with the intent of going to them all.
That's some dedication. Not the cheapest hobby to have, you know. Some people support Bohemians or they support Shamrock Rovers a lot closer to home.
Well, but, just on that, I got the Bohemians on a Friday night, so
there you go. Right.
Yeah. Well, I'm a Northside boy, but look, I mean, lucky enough, Cathal, I'm at the age in life where I can do that. You couldn't always, and I don't drive a Jaguar, and I don't go to Hollywood or Vegas. So the Arsenal is my pursuit, you know.
54 years you're a fan of Arsenal. You must have some fantastic days. Would there be any memory that would come to mind that would stand out?
Oh, look, over my entire lifetime, I think I missed. You wouldn't. I played in a band, and I missed the '89 moment when Michael Thomas scored the winner, because back then we didn't have mobile phones and all that type of stuff. But
what did you play in the band? You have to tell us what you played in the band.
It was a Friday. It was a Friday night, the 26th of May. So I ended up watching that in my mother's on a video recording.
And were you a singer, drummer, guitarist? What are you doing in the band?
Guitar player. Guitar player.
What was the name of the band? The Gunners.
The band, we're a modern ska band, so the band name is the Rods and Mockers, and we do the theme tune for the Dublin Arsenal podcast. So there you go.
Sorry to interrupt Eamon there, but I think we need to hear the intro song to the Dublin Arsenal podcast performed by the Rods and Mockers. There you go. The Rods and Mockers. Not bad at all. Now back to Eamon.
The big moment for me, was when Wenger came along and we won the league in '98 when nobody expected us to. And I remember when Tony Adams half volleys a left foot shot into the top corner, you're onto something.
Yeah.
So that was a big moment. But in terms of individual moments, in recent years, Reece Nelson, 97th minute goal against Bournemouth. I have never heard a noise in a football ground like that day,
Cleared only as far as Nelson has to get his shot right. Oh, that is unbelievable! Gutting for Bournemouth, glorious for Arsenal. In this extraordinary season for the Gunners, they've come up with another extraordinary moment.
Not a bad moment for Reece Nelson to have as well. Wow, just the noise, even coming through the commentary there, you can just hear the players absolutely rocking.
Yeah, it was rocking, and I was right behind where Reece was when he picked up that ball down the far end. But I'm thinking, if he hits this, but it's hard when I watch the games in the lower clock end, Carl, and it's hard to kind of see sometimes how far the player is out from the goal from there, But that was a great moment. I think a lot of Arsenal fans would say that over the last number of years that is the moment that really they kind of knew, we're onto something different here under Arteta. The club is going places. It's exciting, and that kind of that captured it all in one moment.
Did you ever think in the glory years that you've had? Did you ever think that you'd be waiting 22 years for another title?
Of course, sure. I waited from 1971 to 1989. I thought that was normal.
Fair enough. Yeah, you were primed and ready for this.
I tell you, when I met Liam Brady in the airport one time. We'd been away at West Ham. He was sitting in front of me in the plane, and he saw a little cannon on my jumper and started talking to me. He was great. I had a great 10-minute conversation. But we got talking about the team that he broke into, and how it was the team that had won the Dublin '71 broke up, and there was a lot of young fellas, and Arsenal fans of today wouldn't actually kind of contemplate. We were very close to being relegated twice in the '70s, so that was my staple diet. So while I don't want the 22-year wait to go on much longer, we've been through that type of famine before.
So is this your season, Eamon?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be a blind optimist. My biggest worry about the Arsenal is the intensity with which they train, the intensity with which they do everything. Can players sustain that right to the finishing post? How much does it take out of you? But it's the intent. You've got to measure up the intensity versus the squad size. And I'm just looking at, like, you've got White and Timber, two excellent fullbacks on one side, Calafiori, Moisdale Skelly on the other. You've got Mosquera and Hinsapi. Before, if anything had happened to Saliba, Gabriel, you were in meltdown. That's not the case. Rice, Norgard, Zubamendi in the middle, Saka and Medweke. Saka's already been out this season. You've got Medweke, you've got Eze, Odegaard, Manieri, Martinelli, Trossard. I don't think there's another squad in the league that has that depth. I'm very impressed with Man City, but they're younger, they're faster, they're more agile. And sometimes with a team like that, that if they're not fully developed, they can have a switch off moment. I think Man City are kind of a bit like where we were 2 years ago.
Yeah, they're kind of in transition a small bit, aren't they? It's not the same Pep Man City team that won the 4 league titles in a row.
No, but they're very good. And but I just think that they're probably, people say, well, Man City have done this, that and the other to us before. Not those players,
Yeah. Look, it's exciting. It's a good time to get you on. I'd say a lot of the members of the Dublin Arsenal Supporters Club are fairly happy now, and I would imagine your phone is like a politician's phone at times when it's time for the next match and there's people looking for tickets, and I'd say the phone is absolutely hopping.
The worst thing is that we take the orders 10, 11 weeks in advance. So you know, every time an order goes in, you're looking back over your phone, you know, oh my God. But look, it's a labour of love. I won't complain. Arsenal supporters have been very patient with us, and they're good. They don't have, in terms of tickets, they don't have an overwhelming sense of entitlement. I think they're happy to try and get accommodated, you know.
Is there still a door open for other Arsenal fans to join the supporters club if they want? Can they get in touch with you, or?
Yeah, we're closed now until the close season.
Okay. They can actually the Instagram page that you have is really good for any Arsenal fans out there that want to see what the Dublin Arsenal Supporters Club is all about, and then maybe for next season when the door opens again, they can get in touch about membership. Yeah,
and that being said, then there's nothing to stop people who haven't become a member coming and watching the games with us and having the social experience. There's nothing to prevent that whatsoever, you know.
You meet up in Dublin sometimes. Is it the River Bar on the
River Bar? Yeah, the River Bar on just on the south side of O'Connell Bridge there.
Yeah,
that's where we meet.
For people that are listening that are not from Dublin, it's the big bar. It has the big Heineken sign along it. I don't know, does it still do, but it's fairly iconic, isn't it?
Yeah. That sign is still there, and the clock is still there, and the River Bar is underneath those. Yeah,
a good spot to watch a match, I'd say. Eamonn, enjoy this season. Best of luck for it. It's looking pretty good. Enjoy going over and back. I'd imagine they're great days out, and sure, you're a local over there at this stage, going over and back this much. Hopefully for your sake, the 22-year title drought will finish up this season. All the best, Eamonn.
All right, pleasure, Carl. Thank you.
The Kickoff with CATHAL Minoughe and Sky Sports.
Watch every Premier League match this season with Sky Sports and Sports Extra.